Detectives Tim and Anderson had just been handed the most cryptic mission of their careers. No one at the agency could even tell them where they were heading. All they got was a coded message and a map with only continent names labeled. "Look closely at the map," their handlers said. "Add a direction to one of these continents, and you will get the name of the country where you're going. Can you help them to figure it out?" It didn't take them long to crack it. The direction was south, and the continent was Africa, because adding south to Africa gave them South Africa. Bingo! Now they are definitely sure where they're supposed to go. Their next set of instructions would come from an informant during the flight, so they boarded and spotted 3 men sitting next to them. Can you tell which one is their guy? Look, this man is holding a suitcase marked with a small emblem from the detective agency. Which, by the way, is the same emblem Tim and Anderson have on their suitcases. This is definitely the informant. They walk over, and he discreetly handed them a slip of paper before slipping back into their seats. The note was supposed to contain the name of their main suspect, but they quickly realized that it was also encoded. Thankfully, Tim remembered an old trick from their agency. Each vowel matched up with a number. That means the letter A corresponds to the number 1. The letter E is 2, I is 3, O is 4, and U is 5. Now it is time to crack the criminal's name. The name is spelled out as Nico Nacho. Of all names, Nico Nacho, Anderson chuckled, but they knew better than to underestimate him. Nico was notorious in the underworld for his crafty disguises and dangerous alliances. When they touched down in South Africa, they found out that Nico ran a restaurant as his cover. A taxi driver agreed to take them there, but only if they guessed which of the taxis belonged to him. Then, he handed him this encoded message. Can you tell which taxi the detectives should choose among these 3? These strange symbols are mirrored numbers. If we cut the upside-down triangle, we get the number 7. Cut the 8, and we get the number 3. Do the same with this weird heart-shaped symbol, and it becomes number 2. So, the correct taxi is the one that has the number 7327 on the license plate. Tim and Anderson finally arrive at their destination, but there are 3 restaurants on this street, and each one has really bizarre names. The restaurant signs read Okan, Atsap, and Silrag. Can you guess which one belongs to Nico's criminal network? A quick flip of the words told them everything they needed to know. Reading it backwards, Silrag turns into garlic. Atsap is pasta. And Okan spells nacho. Wow, just like Nico's last name. Yep, this is definitely the place. They walked into the shady restaurant, but to be honest, it looked pretty ordinary. So they asked the manager to check the security camera footage from the night before, after the place closed. The manager looked nervous, but she agreed. Then she showed them the footage from 2 different cameras that captured the empty restaurant from different angles. Then, suddenly, Tim shouted, "Wait! Pause here! Play it again!" Can you figure out why he decided to rewind the footage? Both cameras had the same timestamp, but one showed the piñata hanging from the ceiling moving, while in the other one, the piñata didn't move at all. A possible explanation is that the criminals erased some footage, so the video looks like it's paused. And look over there. In this footage, they can see a sketchy door. Something is definitely up with that. Maybe they wanted to hide who went in there. Tim and Anderson get inside that door and spot a staircase leading to the basement. Heading down, the stairs seemed to stretch endlessly. When they reached the bottom, they were confronted by a chilling sight. 3 cages, each containing a captive surrounded by dangerous animals. So the two of them got a message on their phones that said, "You can save only one. There is no time to save them all." In the first cage, a person stood stock still as crocodiles swam beneath, their beady eyes watching, waiting. In the second, tigers paced and growled, tense and ready to pounce. In the third, a network of snakes slithered around the feet of the captive, coiling and hissing. Tim and Anderson had to think fast. Who will they save first? Let's see. Crocodiles are not as aggressive unless provoked. The snakes are likely venomous, but as long as the person stayed calm, they'd have a little time. The tigers, though, they were actively circling, clearly hostile, and seconds away from attacking. They had to make a call, and fast. In a split second, they went for the person surrounded by tigers, pulling them free just as one of the tigers roared. But they got the person out in time. Phew! Sorry, but the other victims will have to wait a bit longer to be rescued, because when they looked back, the detectives saw a hooded suspect sneaking out of the basement. Tim and Anderson took off running after him. They chased him hard until the suspect reached a dead end. The detectives shouted, "Stop right there!" But then they realized they were actually the ones who were in danger. But how? Take a look at the floor. There are only 2 detectives, but there are 4 shadows on the ground. That means there are 2 people right behind them. Tim and Anderson froze in fear, but they didn't have time to think. Suddenly, a group of tough guys surrounded them. "You think you can just come in here and mess with Nico's operation?" one of them asked. And then he said that Nico Nacho would see them, but only if they could solve a riddle to prove their worth. He handed them a note that said, "I belong to the month of December, and not to any other month. I am not a holiday. What am I?" What the criminals didn't know was that Tim was a pro at riddles. He immediately realized the answer was the letter D, since no other month has that letter. They finally made it to Nico Nacho's mansion, but their problems were far from over. There was a really angry dog at the door growling at them. The detectives knew they were in deep trouble. Anderson thought out loud. "What should we do? Run for it, raise our hands, or grab a bottle of water?" Now tell us in the comments, what would you do? Got any advice for them? Running or raising their hands could freak the dog out even more, making things way more dangerous. The smart move is to grab the water bottle and throw it far away so the dog goes after it, giving them a chance to sneak into the house. And that is exactly what they do. As soon as they step into the main room, Tim and Anderson take in the decor, glance at each other, and realize something feels really off. What did they notice? See that picture on the wall? That is not Nico Nacho. That guy is the informant. Yep, the one who was on the plane with them. But wait, that makes zero sense. Can someone please tell them what is going on? Suddenly, a bunch of their fellow detectives burst into the room, clapping and congratulating them. This time, they weren't after Nico Nacho. Turns out, Tim and Anderson's super-secret mission was actually a huge prank by the detective agency, because they were celebrating their 100th case. They wanted to mark the occasion with some special puzzles, riddles, and of course, a bunch of very professional actors. I've got a bunch of new riddles for you, oh great detective. Concentrate and crack them all like nuts. Look at this picture very attentively. One of these people attacked the artist, but can you figure out who it was? The artist started writing the letter K and then another letter, but he didn't have time to finish it. It seems to be an I, so the culprit could be Kitty. But at the same time, it also looks as if the artist simply didn't have time to finish the letter L, which is another letter that can be confused with I. So, if the injured man tried to write the lower part of the letter L but didn't have enough time to finish it, it could easily be Claude, who attacked him. What do you think? Was it Claude or Kitty? Write your answer in the comments. These people seem to be rather strange, but only one of them is a real vampire. Who is it? All of them are drinking something red, but it might be just some pomegranate juice. The girl on the left has a blood red streak next to her mouth, but it might just be smudged lipstick. The man has weird teeth, but they could be artificial. As for the woman on the right, she must be the vampire. Have you noticed that she doesn't have a reflection in the mirror? This couple is about to get married. What a happy event. But not everything is rainbows and butterflies here. One of the people in the picture is actually an alien. Have you spotted this guest from another planet? It's the bride herself. Look, she's got 3 arms. Continuing with the topic of extraterrestrial visitors, you need to find an alien among these athletes. Can you spot anything unusual about them? The guy on the left must be an alien. He's got 2 left hands. Yikes. Creepy. Now this guy seems to be lost and confused. There are 2 doors in front of him, and both ladies seem friendly. But one of the doors isn't safe to enter. Which one is it? It's the door on the left. This glamorous lady is offering the guy a ride, but do you see that strange decor in her apartment? Especially the skull? At the same time, the second woman looks quite disheveled. But despite her messy appearance, offering food might just be a kind gesture. In any case, a ride with a stranger holds more risk than a simple hamburger. Look at these bathrooms very attentively. Your task is to figure out which of them belongs to a zombie. Well, both bathrooms look kinda disgusting, but a real zombie leaves on the left. Do you see that glass standing on the sink in the left room? The zombie keeps his fingers there. Ugh. We've got 3 Miss School contestants here. They look pretty and all, but one of them is actually dangerous. Which one is it? It's the girl in the pink dress. There's blood on her crown. Another day, another monster. Look at these people attentively and try to figure out which of them is a werewolf. The man on the left is just wearing a mask. It's quite obvious. The lady in the middle might have had some kind of an accident, hence the bizarre blue spots on her body. But the man on the right is literally covered with fur, which he is trying to hide with his clothes, but his true nature can still be spotted. A crazy scientist captured Mark and locked him in his lab to use the guy for his experiments. Luckily, the guy managed to get out of the lab, taking along 3 pills. Each of them worked for 10 seconds. The green pill could provide him with regeneration abilities. The red pill could allow him to become invisible. And the blue pill provided him with the ability to fly. To get out of there, Mark had to pass through 3 rooms. One was guarded by a vampire, the second one was protected by a werewolf, and the third one hosted a maniac with a chainsaw. Which pill should Mark take to pass through each room? Mark needs to take the invisibility pill to get past the vampire, the pill enabling him to fly to get past the werewolf, and the regeneration pill to escape the chainsaw. Simon was stuck at a gas station 50 miles away from the city. His car was broken and could be repaired only by the end of the day. Luckily, there were 3 drivers who were ready to offer him a ride to the city. Look at these people and try to understand which car is safe. The driver in the red car is actually a criminal. The police have been looking for the vehicle he's driving. It must have been stolen. The man in the yellow car must be a criminal too, since he is depicted on the wanted poster on the wall. Only that granny in the blue car is safe to ride with. Maria Walker, a rich businesswoman, collected ancient pieces of art. One day, she managed to buy a priceless Chinese figurine. Maria locked it in a safe in her office and went home. But the next morning, the figurine was gone. Police have 3 suspects, all of them Miss Walker's subordinates. The detective asked each of them if they'd taken the figurine from the safe. Beverly said she hadn't been to the office since Monday. Ralph said that he didn't even know how to open safes and wasn't interested in Chinese art. And Vincent admitted that he'd been to Miss Walker's office after her departure, but he only took some documents he needed. Have you understood who the thief was? It was Ralph. Otherwise, how would he know the figurine was Chinese? Mary was a college teacher. It was the beginning of a new school year and 3 new students joined the class. When Mary saw them, she immediately realized something was off about one of them. What did she notice? The guy in the middle doesn't have a shadow. Logan worked as a security officer on a small cruise ship. One day, during a severe storm, he found Mr. Lewis lying on the deck. When the man came to his senses, he said someone had hit him on the head and had taken his wallet. Logan had 3 suspects. He visited them in their cabins. Linda told him she was feeling queasy because of seasickness. She couldn't even get up from her bed. Denise said she'd been watching a movie on her smartphone. And Philip said he'd been writing a letter to his wife. Logan immediately understood who had hit Mr. Lewis. Do you know? It was Philip. Look at his letter. The handwriting is immaculate. But it's impossible to write so accurately during a storm. Look at these elderly ladies. Both of them have gone out for a walk. At first glance, they seem totally normal. But one of them is actually planning something bad. Can you figure out which granny it is? It's the granny on the right. She's got a file hidden in her knitting basket. Look at this explorer. He seems to be in a tough situation. There are 4 tunnels in front of him. The first one seems to be freezing cold, with some perilous-looking icicles hanging over the entrance. The second tunnel looks outright creepy. A giant shark is in the third tunnel, and the fourth pass is covered with molten lava. Where should our explorer go? He should opt for the first tunnel. Have you noticed a rather well-trodden track there? So this way can't be too dangerous. Kenneth was hungry. He found a nice diner that served burgers and bought one. After a waiter brought him his order, Kenneth went to the bathroom to wash his hands. But when he came back, his burger was gone. The guy looked around the diner and understood who had taken his lunch. Can you figure it out? It's this young woman. A dog is sitting at her feet and sniffing the air. If she was just drinking coffee, which is what she's pretending to do, the dog wouldn't be so interested in her. Aubrey and her boyfriend Leo lost each other at a concert. He's in one of these toilet stalls. Can you help Aubrey find her partner? Leo is in the first stall. They have matching tattoos. Aubrey and Leo return to the concert. Suddenly, Aubrey notices that one of these musicians isn't real. Who? The guitarist is not real. His guitar has no strings.
Really?
After the concert, Aubrey goes backstage to say hello to the musicians. In the hallway, she meets 3 lady fans. One of them is a werewolf. Can you guess who? The first and the second ladies don't have any shadows, therefore, they're vampires. So only the third lady can be a werewolf. Aubrey enters the dressing room and finds the singer, Emma, unconscious on the floor. Aubrey calls the police and an ambulance. Officers question 3 suspects. The guitarist says, "I left the dressing room for 15 minutes to go to the toilet." The drummer says, "Emma asked me to bring her a burger with fries from the kitchen. When I returned, the police were already there." The piano player says, "I was taking selfies with my fans in the hallway." Who's lying? The drummer. His hands are empty, so he didn't bring any burgers. Oh no. After helping the police, Aubrey and Leo leave the concert hall to go home. 3 taxi drivers offer them a ride, but one of them is dangerous. Can you guess who? The second driver has a hyena in the back seat of his car. The next morning, Aubrey goes to the park for her daily workout. She spots 2 people chilling on 2 benches. One of them is a villain. Can you guess who? The lady is just having a picnic. But take a look at the guy. His magazine is upside down, so he's probably tracking someone. Busted.
Oh no.
Aubrey takes 2 pictures of the pond. Can you find 5 differences between them? Feel free to stop the video if you need more time. Are you ready to see the answers? Here they are.
Oh, yes.
Aubrey gets a message from her friend, Mary Jane. She fell from a bridge today, but she survived. How? Spider-Man saved her. She's Mary Jane, remember? Aubrey goes to visit Mary Jane at her condo, but the local security guard will only let Aubrey in if she cracks this riddle. I get sharper the more I'm used. What am I? Easy peasy. It's the brain. Mary Jane greets Aubrey and treats her to cupcakes and tea. There are 4 cupcakes in the box. One of them isn't safe. Can you guess which one? The first cupcake is a bit smashed, but that doesn't mean it's not edible. The second one looks fine. The fourth cupcake is a little burnt, but it can still be delicious. But the third cupcake has glass shards on top. Definitely not safe.
Oh, God.
Aubrey returns home and turns on the TV. Breaking news, everyone! A dangerous criminal has escaped from prison, and now he's walking around Aubrey's neighborhood.
What?
Suddenly, the doorbell rings. Aubrey checks her camera and sees 2 people standing on her porch. Both say that they're delivery guys, but one of them is the famous runaway criminal.
Oh.
Can you guess who? The guy on the left. He hides an axe in one of his trouser legs.
Oh my God.
Aubrey calls the police, but the criminal realizes her intentions and escapes through the backyard. The police follow him and end up in a parking lot. The criminal is hiding in one of these 5 cars. Can you find him? These 4 cars seem empty, and they don't have any signs of a break-in. Meanwhile, someone's moving in the back seat of the 5th car. Busted! Aubrey is heading home from the police station and sees this scene. One of them is lying. Can you guess who? The vampire hunter is lying. This guy isn't a real vampire. He got scared and his cheeks turned red. Also, he has a shadow, just like humans. Aubrey keeps walking and comes across 3 neighbors arguing about one bike. Whose bike is it? The bike belongs to the red hat guy. The rest are wearing helmets, but his helmet is on the bike.
Oh.
The next day, Aubrey goes to the supermarket. She grabs some food and goes to the cashier to pay. Oh no, her card holder is missing. Aubrey interrogates 3 people standing nearby. Ethan says he was talking on the phone and he didn't steal anything. Mia says that she didn't touch Aubrey's stuff. Her hands were full with her own purchases. And the cashier says that she didn't notice any card holders. Aubrey knows for sure who's the thief. What about you? Take a look at Mia's purchases. She hid Aubrey's card holder inside the kale. Aubrey enters the local diner to have lunch, but this is not a regular boring restaurant. One of these 2 customers is a former mermaid. Can you guess who? Take a closer look at the second lady. She has scratches on her knees. That's because she's learned to walk just recently.
Oh.
Aubrey takes a seat and notices these 2 innocent-looking couples. One of the couples are visiting from another planet. Can you guess who? Take a look at the first table. The guy puts toothpicks in his pasta like salt or pepper. It's very unlikely that he's human. The next morning, Aubrey enters her office. Oh no, someone broke into her desk and stole her laptop. Yesterday, she locked it in her drawer. Aubrey calls the security guards and they question 4 suspects. The cleaning lady says, "I only entered Aubrey's room once to take out the trash early in the morning. I didn't touch her desk." The designer says, "Yesterday I left earlier than Aubrey, so I didn't see anything." The office manager says, "I was the first one to arrive today, but I spent all morning in my own room working on an urgent task." And the account manager says, "I was having a business meeting in the conference room all morning." Who's lying? The cleaning lady. Take a look at Aubrey's bin. She didn't take out the trash, so her story is fake. Aubrey and Leo go for a walk on the beach. But something is wrong here. Can you guess what? No waves. Aubrey and Leo keep on walking and get lost in a huge maze.
Oh my god.
Can you help them escape?
Oh no.
Here's the only way out. Suddenly, the guys see a curious animal. It has feet but no legs. Which animal is it? It's a snail. Snail foot is a muscle that allows it to move. Aubrey and Leo decide to explore the local haunted house. They enter a creepy hallway and the door slams shut. The guys wander around and find another door with a combination lock. They have to figure out the 5-digit code to open it. Can you help the guys figure out the code? Take a look at these fancy runes on the wall. It's a hint. These are just mirror digits. The code is 1, 3, 9, 4, 7.
Yes!
The guys open the door. They faint because the next room is filled with sleeping gas. After a while, they wake up in a basement and see a drawing of the floor. Suddenly, a creepy voice says, "2 letters are missing here. Guess which ones, and I'll set you free. If you don't, you'll stay here forever." Can you help the guys out? The missing letters are N and N. The guys open the next door and see a bunch of butterflies flying in the air. Can you count the exact number of green butterflies? Seven.
Yeah!
Now let's see if you can count the number of pink butterflies. The correct answer is 9.
Oh my god.
Finally, the guys get out of the haunted house. They take 2 pictures for their social media. Can you find 5 differences between them? Ready to see the differences? Here they are. The haunted house has a garden maze. Can you help the guys get out? They should definitely choose the first route.